Prime Minister Modi finally spoke on Manipur inside Parliament from the floor of the Lok Sabha in a speech that broke Lal Bahadur Shastri's record in length by a minute. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. For a while, it looked like the Prime Minister may not speak on Manipur because he kept Manipur for the end of his speech, as the opposition ironically chose that very moment to walk out of the House. As the opposition walked out, the Prime Minister spoke extensively, not just on Manipur, but also on the Northeast. He said to the people of Manipur, the country is with you. Desh, Aapke, Saath hai. He accused the opposition of being interested more in politics than the suffering of the people of Manipur, where the crisis is entering its fourth month. He made the argument that the Home Minister had offered the opposition a detailed Manipur-focused debate, but they chose not to take that offer, and they brought against the Modi government a no-confidence motion instead. And that is where the Modi government has argued that the opposition has faltered. But before the Prime Minister spoke on Manipur, the opposition was on its feet. Many of them made very, very fiery interventions, and they were shouting Manipur, 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 as supporters of the government were sloganeering and saying Modi, Modi, Modi. There's a lot to unpack in this special broadcast this evening. Let's introduce our guest today before we play out an excerpt of the Prime Minister's speech, his comments on Manipur. Joining us from the Congress, let me welcome to the program Swaty S. Malik. Good to see you, Swaty. Also joining us today is somebody who first highlighted the Manipur viral video that really caused the national discourse to shift. Gladi Wi-Fi, she's from Manipur, and she has been talking about the suffering in particular of women. Good to see you, Gladi. Also joining us is veteran journalist Neerja Chowdhury, just out with a very important book on Indian politics. It's good to see you always, Neerja. Also joining us is PKD Nambiar, political analyst, mostly a supporter of this government. We'll see how he feels today. And also joining us is political analyst and India's leading psephologist of Sea Voter, Yashwant Deshmukh. It's very good to see all of you. The Prime Minister said a lot. His entire speech is on our platform. Let me just play out a short bit. What happened is the opposition got up to stage a walkout, thinking that the Prime Minister was not going to speak on Manipur. And that is the exact moment that the Prime Minister starts speaking about Manipur. Watch what happened.
अपशब्द बोलो, भाग जाओ, कूड़ा कचरा फेंको, भाग जाओ, झूठ फैलाओ, भाग जाओ। यही जिनका खेल है। ये देश इनसे अपेक्षा ज्यादा नहीं कर सकता है। अगर इन्होंने गृह मंत्री जी की मणिपुर की चर्चा पर सहमति दिखाई होती तो अकेले मणिपुर विषय पर विस्तार से चर्चा हो सकती थी, हर पहलू पर चर्चा हो सकती थी और उनको भी बहुत कुछ कहने का मौका मिल सकता था, लेकिन उनको चर्चा में रस नहीं था। और कल अमित भाई ने विस्तार से इस विषय की चीजें जब रखी तो देश को भी आश्चर्य हुआ है कि लोग इतना झूठ फैला सकते हैं, ऐसे ऐसे पाप करके गए हैं लोग। और उन्होंने आज जब अविश्वास का प्रस्ताव लाए और अविश्वास में सारे विषय पर वो बोले तो ट्रेजरी बेंच का भी दायित्व बनता है कि देश के विश्वास को प्रकट करें, देश के विश्वास को नई ताकत दें, देश के प्रति अविश्वास करने वालों के लिए करारा जवाब दें। ये हमारा भी दायित्व बनता है। हमने कहा था अकेले मणिपुर के लिए आओ चर्चा करो, गृह मंत्री जी ने चिट्ठी लिख करके कहा था, उनके विभाग से जुड़ा विषय था, लेकिन साहस नहीं था, पेट में पाप था, दर्द पेट में हो रहा था और फोड़ रहे थे सर।
All right, that's a short excerpt from the Prime Minister's speech. As I said, it was a very long, comprehensive speech on a range of issues in which he often targeted the Congress, the opposition, the India alliance. But he kept a sizable portion just when the opposition thought he was not going to speak on Manipur, for the Northeast. He later went on to say, Desh Aapke Saath hai, to the people of Manipur. He urged the people of Manipur he appealed rather for peace from the floor of the Lok Sabha. He spoke about the suffering of women and children, but he did lash out at the opposition of not accepting the Home Minister's offer for a Manipur-specific debate. Later in his speech, he spoke about how the Congress had in fact bombed, rather the Air Force had been deployed to bomb the people of Mizoram, and how it is under the Modi government that the Act East policy has become a reality. He called the states of the Northeast his jigar ka tukra. So most of you have seen the speech. I'm sure many in the audience have also seen it. If you haven't, it's available on the Mojo Story platform in full. Let me actually start getting reactions. Yashwant, I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Yashwant,
Go ahead.
You can hear me. Yashwant, your first thoughts. Very interesting and ironic thing happened. The opposition was getting very agitated. For over an hour, they thought the Prime Minister was not going to speak on Manipur. Even journalists thought maybe he's not going to take this moment to speak about Manipur. The Home Minister has already spoken about it. And as the opposition walked out, he started talking about Manipur. Now, do you think this was perfectly politically planned? I mean, what did you make of the moment?
Well, I think, first of all, anybody who would have seen or known the way Mr. Modi speaks would have known that he would pick up issue of Manipur and the Northeast in the absolute end after he has gone through. Because if he had started with Manipur, then the ruckus and everything would have followed in that way, and he wouldn't have got chance to just say, because this is a 2024 campaign setting speech in the parliament, So everybody knew that if at all he has to speak on Manipur, and which he would have spoken in any case, it would be in the end of his speech. So this walkout actually gave him the complete, because by the time, Manipur, he started speaking on Manipur, there was nobody out there to raise the voice, to counter, to say something. He just got a absolutely fairly open place now to bat on when he had to speak on Manipur. So I found it was ironical and wrong for that walkout thing happened. It did not serve any purpose whatsoever to the opposition, And Prime Minister went, on his perfectly balanced speech in that way that he is known for. So I think we expected what he is going to do, and he did what was expected out of him.
So you believe the opposition made a mistake by walking out? They should have anticipated that Mr. Modi, whether or not he chose to speak on Manipur, the opposition denied themselves in a way the purpose of this motion. They will argue that the Prime Minister, the country heard from the Prime Minister on Manipur from the floor of the House because they brought this motion, Yashwant. How do you see it?
Well, full credit to them, if at all, if credit's to given. I'm happy that we agreed on this one, that even though for very wrong and unfortunate events, but at least Northeast and Manipur was at the center stage. So yes, that if they want to take credit of that thing, good enough. But at the end of the day, they should have stayed in there. They should have probably countered few of the points, in that way. This walkout did not serve any purpose. That's my limited point.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point. And before I get Swaty, Malik of the Congress to respond to it, let me just play out. We're just playing out nuggets from the Prime Minister's intervention because it was a very long speech. Gaurav Gogoi has just told PTI that, look, an hour and 40 minutes had passed. He hadn't spoken, so we walked out. But when the Prime Minister did start speaking about Manipur, one of the things he said in Hindi, he said, Desh ke log aapke saath hai. So just want to play out that little comment, and then we can return to our panel. Listen in.
मैं मणिपुर के लोगों से भी आग्रहपूर्वक कहना चाहता हूं, वहां की माताओं, बहनों, बेटियों से कहना चाहता हूं, देश आपके साथ है, ये सदन आपके साथ है। हम सब मिलकर के, कोई यहां हो या ना हो, हम सब मिलकर के इस चुनौती का समाधान निकालेंगे, वहां फिर से शांति की स्थापना होगी। मैं मणिपुर के लोगों को विश्वास दिलाता हूं कि मणिपुर फिर विकास की राह पर तेज गति से आगे बढ़े, उसमें कोई प्रयासों में कोई कसर नहीं रहेगी।
Together we will find a way. There will be peace in Manipur again. The country is with you. We appeal to the people of Manipur to help us find peace. Swaty, you just heard what Yashwant Deshmukh said. It was a own goal by the opposition to walk out. Yes, for 1 hour, the Prime Minister spoke about everything but Manipur, but then he didn't speak only about Manipur. He spoke about the Northeast. He spoke about, lots of different things pertaining to the Northeast. And as Yashwant said, had the opposition been in the House, there would have been a chance to rebut, to interject, to even, disagree. And the opposition missed that opportunity. Do you think the opposition made a mistake?
Barkha, the track record of the Prime Minister and the silence he has maintained on Manipur for over 78 days, but that was the first time he spoke about Manipur. So the track record is not very, it would not be very surprising if he chose not to address Manipur at all today. If he had not gone ahead with what he spoke about, that would not be surprising. So yes, the opposition waited, and we waited for 1 hour 45 minutes, but the Prime Minister did not find it important enough to bring in Manipur in those 1 hour 45 minutes. And if you notice in the bite you were playing, even when the opposition was walking out, he continued to just, pass smart comments about the opposition, kooda fenkte hain, bhag jate hain. Even then, while the opposition got up and started walking out, even in that minute or 2 minutes, he did not start with Manipur. He waited for the opposition to walk out and then speak about Manipur. And secondly, Barkha, even when you listen to what he said about Manipur, he has not addressed the questions that were raised by the opposition. Why is the Chief Minister not fired yet? Where is the accountability for this? And today he says that Pura Desh Aapke Saath hai. We just wish that he had said this earlier. He's not gone to Manipur even once. These were the questions asked. What has he done? Even about the video that was circulated, which actually forced him to speak outside the parliament. What has been the progress in those cases? So he did not answer the questions raised by the opposition. It's like a political speech.
So let me just read out a comment for all of you by Gaurav Gogoi. He's the Congress member of parliament who actually moved this no confidence motion. And Yashwant, to your point that the opposition missed an opportunity, Mr. Gogoi says that after struggling for so many days and after so many difficulties, finally today the country is seeing Mr. Modi speak, but he didn't answer 3 questions. Why is he adamant about not visiting Manipur? And why has the Chief Minister of Manipur not been expelled is among our main questions. Before I take this to PKT Nambiar, do you believe that Mr. Modi somewhere left the specifics to Amit Shah and decided to make a more emotive sort of intervention, a short intervention, not a Manipur specific intervention, and therefore the opposition would still get to say our questions remain unanswered? Yashwant, quickly, and then PKT Nambiar with the same question. Can we unmute Yashwant, please? Hang on, Yashwant. We need to unmute you.
Yeah, well, Barkha, he left his team members to do what they were supposed to do. He left his home minister to tell the country what he was supposed to say. So, he came in the final over to do what he was supposed to do. So, basically, if the opposition would have stayed on the house, if suppose, even understanding what Congress spokesperson is saying, that he might not have said anything on Manipur, that would have unfortunately that would have happened, then the opposition would have got even bigger point to say that, see, you did not say anything. So walking out, first of all, didn't matter, number one. Number two, yes, his teammates did the job that they were supposed to do. So I think Amit Shah spoke more than, what was expected on that line on Manipur, what any journalist or any editor or any politician would have expected him to say. So I think they went with a very precise plan on what to do. And Prime Minister, yes, I could sense that Prime Minister actually waited. कि जा रहे हैं जाने दो, अच्छी बात है, जाओ, अब मैं बोलता हूँ जो मुझे बोलना है.
Yeah.
So I mean, it actually helped them.
But PKT Nambiar, having spent a week on the ground in Manipur, I want to share one feedback. Whether I was talking to people from the Meitei community or the Kuki community, the two communities that are clashing, one of the things they said repeatedly is we want to hear from the Prime Minister. yes, they spoke about the home minister's visit and so on, but they wanted the prime minister to take the initiative to restore peace, and they wanted to know why the prime minister doesn't come and meet them. They said, come to meet us, come to our relief camps, we want to hear from you. And many people will think it's counterintuitive that the prime minister didn't speak up until this point. How do you see it? PKD, can we unmute PKD, please? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I agree with you that the people who are going through that such a crisis moment, they would expect maybe the tallest leader of the country should go and meet them and speak to them and etc. But then there are a lot of logistical issues in that. With whomsoever I have spoken, then they said if the prime minister is visiting the Manipur means the whole security, all the arrangements will be focusing on him, and there may be even issues might go up rather than coming down at that particular moment. Because as of now, what we know is that there are there may be not only just internal but also maybe a cross-border support to this particular crisis which has going through or even still going on. So I believe that Prime Minister of the country should speak on anything and everything, and he is the only one who will be charged rather than the Home Minister who is supposed to be the custodian in a way, or the one who is supposed to be answerable to the country effectively, and he would be knowing it more detailed way than the prime minister. But I think it's very unfortunate that we wanted only it is not just an answer from Modi. And anybody whomsoever has got a common sense do understand this is pure politics. The opposition wanted to bring Modi to a place where he is being questioned, he is being charged. But today's speech, on the other way around, it is more of like a good opportunity, as Yashwantji said, that it is the beginning of the poll plan for him. He explained in this 2 hours.
I mean, he actually made repeated references to the fact of 2024. He even spoke about 2028. So he basically made the point that he sees the government there for 2 more terms. PKD, quickly complete your point. I'm going to go to Neerja and Gladdy. PKD? Yeah.
See, this is precisely, he said even in the 2008 when the no confidence motion was there, he said, I will see you guys all in 2013. Today he said 2018, I welcome you in my 3rd term. You should be coming again, but little better prepared. And I think today one thing is very clear. In the last 2 days, if you have seen it, that opposition was not really prepared. Maybe they did not have that kind of a good orators to take on to this kind of a large majority of the treasury benches. So I think maybe a Mahua Moitra or 1 or 2 people who may have gone all out, but then I would say that even Rahul Gandhi's speech was a big miss, and rather than what he said, he was people were talking about what his gestures.
Let me take that to the others. Yeah, let me take that to the others. Now, we live in such a politically polarized time that the same set of events are seen very differently depending on which side of the divide you're on. For example, Manoj Jha of the RJD says, we thought the Prime Minister would speak on Manipur, but instead we saw comments, jokes and WhatsApp talks. This was not expected. So it really depends on which side of the divide you are on today. Neerja, you're a dispassionate observer of politics. If you look at the politics, because I know Gladdy will speak about her sentiments today, the resident as a Manipuri, but I want Neerja to talk about the politics. Do you agree with Yashwant that the opposition missed a chance? Or do you think the opposition could argue that we put up a united front, and if it weren't for us, the Prime Minister would not have said even what he said on the floor of the House? Neerja.
Look, the overwhelming feeling that I'm left with at the end of the debate, that it was a very unequal battle today. And the opposition had such a strong issue in their hands. 3 months, the Prime Minister doesn't go there, doesn't say a word. The Prime Minister didn't even attend the no confidence motion. He came towards the end. And Manipur is out there somewhere on the peripheries of India as far as heartland India is concerned. But this issue of the sexual assault on women going viral has agitated people all over the country. And what has the government been doing? in specific terms. Of course, Amit Shah went into it in great detail yesterday, but the Congress and the opposition really had not done their work. And I think there the Prime Minister had something when he said the lack of preparation. The other thing is that the Congress does not have those tall leaders who are good orators in the Lok Sabha. That also came through. I mean, Adhir Ranjan Chowdhury's handling of the whole situation. I mean, we keep lamenting about leadership today and go back to the past and the cut and thrust of parliamentary debate, particularly during no confidence motions. You will recall, we all recall that. Of course, I would also add, Barkha, here, the nature of parliamentary debate has changed. And we saw
Yes.
that today. It was more like election speeches that we saw.
Yeah,
The Prime
I
Minister
mean, I
was
mean,
dead lampooning the
sloganeering,
opposition.
yeah,
But this is
sloganeering on the
not what
floor of the
Parliament
House.
is really meant for. You know, you have to debate point by point what the opposition did. But even more, just one last thing, Barkha, even more than the walkout that has been talked about being, I think, also not such a good idea. But even if they'd done the walkout, they could have come back to let go of the right to reply. Was, I think, a big error, because the Congress is the one, Rajiv Gandhi is the one who brought in the Mizo Accord that led to peace in that state, even till today. So what the Congress has also done for the Northeast is something that's not been spelled out. The Prime Minister totally lampooned them for all the problems of the Northeast to be attributed to the Congress.
And
so that was a mistake, right to reply, not to be used.
And in fact, Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, went for the jugular. He said that under the Congress, the people of Mizoram, bombs had been used on them. So the opposition, wasn't there to respond and to interject. And so that's an important point you make. We'll take it back to Swaty. Gladdy, can I just ask you to come in from a human perspective? I know you're from the tribal community in Manipur. You're from the Kuki community. I know your leaders have met with the Home Minister as recently as yesterday. Mr. Shah has met with leaders as people, ordinary families are suffering in Manipur, and we've been on the ground. Amit Shah has been meeting with leaders. He's been trying to reach some sort of compromise formulas, some sort of forward movement. But when you heard the Prime Minister speak today, just from a purely personal perspective, Gladdy, did you want to hear him say more? Was Mr. Amit Shah's speech addressing the points you wanted? How do you feel today as a person from Manipur? Can we unmute Gladdy? Yes, Gladdy, go ahead. Gladdy, you're muted at your end, and we lost her right there. I'm sure she'll reconnect. Swaty, do you want to just pick up the criticism meanwhile of the Congress walk? Not just the Congress, the opposition walkout. Go ahead, Swaty.
Barkha, like I said earlier, this stage where the Prime Minister has been force is the word. He's been compelled to address Manipur in the Parliament is only because of the opposition unity. And if he's just going to make it like a political speech, this is disrespectful towards Manipur. This is absolutely what he said. What did he talk about Manipur? He said, "Pura Desh Aapke Saath hai." Yes, we wanted him to say that, but we also wanted him to talk about a lot more about Manipur. And then he went on to his chest thumping and saying Manipur, Northeast mein pehla IMC ab aaya hai, which is absolutely false. IMC was in 2011 in Mizoram, which again, so who's prepared, who's not prepared, just come and, rant out, one of those smart one-liners is not going to get really, it's not going to impress people anymore, because people are looking, and information is available on our phones. It's not like we have to look up encyclopedias anymore. So it's so available. Mizoram IMC was 2011, which he absolutely lied about through his teeth. And about Manipur also, he's not answered anything that the opposition was raising questions about. He's not given any details about, what was the action taken. And of course, when we talk about the Home Minister was the one who's in charge, and he should be, talking about the action taken. But the Prime Minister, he is the Prime Minister who will have to take accountability under him. He will have to. He's the one whose credibility is also at stake here, and he's the one who's not taken action against the Chief Minister. Or does that also come under the Home Minister? So the trust deficit, Barkha, the trust deficit between what the Prime Minister says and what he does is quite deep now. And when he says that people are with Manipur, then the first step should be to fire the Chief Minister, which only he can, and not the Home Minister.
I mean, I have to say that I just want to say for those who are following the story that we are seeing very dangerous situations in Manipur. We are seeing women stop soldiers, women protesters stop soldiers and ask them to show ID proof before they're allowed to pass on blockaded highways. We've seen MLAs today write to the Prime Minister saying they want the Assam rifles to be withdrawn. The army is very upset. I can share this with you. The army is extremely upset. They feel they're already doing a tough job with one hand tied behind their back, and they're being targeted in this way. They're being maligned. The army has issued an unprecedented, sharp public statement in the last 24 hours. So things are taking a dangerous turn. And I'd be very, very interested to see how Manipuris felt about the speech today. And therefore, I hope Gladys can rejoin us. But Neerja, you said you thought the Congress, or rather the opposition, I keep saying the Congress, the opposition did not do its homework. Can you give an example of that? What is an example of them not doing their homework?
Look, you look at the speeches. Mahua Moitra spoke very passionately, getting her act together on, marshalling the arguments. But, the whole history of Manipur, as was spelled out by Amit Shah, as was spelled out by the Prime Minister, not so much. They went into detail about what had happened. Now, this was not done by the opposition spokespeople who spoke, the MPs who spoke in Parliament. How do you marshal your arguments? Why is it Manipur is so important today for the northeast of India? Why is northeast of India so important for the rest of India? Given the security scenario, given China, Bhutan, Bangladesh there. So our foreign policy, our Look East policy, so many things hinge on Manipur. Manipur is not one little state out there. So I think, and the Prime Minister ignoring it, what does it actually add up to? I think, and then of course, what people like you have covered, the sheer pain. And I have friends there who've talked about this. That does the rest of India really care about us? Does it treat us as part of the country? And somewhere I think the opposition could have, with the ABCD spelling out, given that message and put the BJP and the government much more on the mat, not in rhetorical terms, but ABCD facts. That I think preparation was missing, and I think coordinated strategy amongst the opposition parties was also not there. Who will say what? So they keep press ahead with their advantage. I think they lost an opportunity, a very big opportunity, and gave a handle to the Prime Minister to showcase the achievements of the government. And really, it was a call. It was, I think, as you said, sounding the bugle for the big 24 battle next year. And it's going to be it's going to be a very contentious, aggressive, blistering attacks. And we got a foretaste of that today.
And I think there is a consensus on the panel. Swaty will not agree that the walkout was a political error. Gladys, before we lose you again, I was asking you just your personal sentiments. Please go ahead. I'm going to keep my question short just so we can hear from you. Gladys.
Barkha, it is very sad that we're still playing politics in Parliament. And the Prime Minister, why do he has to wait till opposition party walked out? The same thing happened few days ago till the viral video came out. He was quiet. As a Prime Minister of my country, why not he lead in solving the problem of Manipur? Why someone has to always press the button for him to speak? He, as a person that we look up to, while we're playing politics, no wonder 100 days have passed. No wonder 130 lives have lost. After 50,000 internally displaced people, after all these things happen, why do the Prime Minister has to wait till opposition walked out? They waited 1 hour, 40 minutes. That's a long time. It is very sad for me and for my people, the Kuki-Zo community. As a victim, every day we're waiting for some sort of relief from the center government. And it's very, very painful to see that our Prime Minister has to wait for someone to walk out. The whole opposition has to walk out for him to say few words. If he say, Pura Desh, hum log ke saath hai, then why is he not with us? Why is he not in Manipur? Why is he not visiting all the victims? Why
Can I
is
ask
he
you?
not
Can I ask
identifying
you?
the dead body? Why
Can I
is
ask
he
you
not
something?
with us? By saying in the mouth, it doesn't mean that he's with us. We know that he is not with us. Otherwise, he would have been sitting with us in Manipur, Barkha, to visit my family, to visit my Kuki Zhou people who are crying every day, Barkha. This is not done. I did not expect this from our Prime Minister. We don't need good orator. We don't need good politician. The victim story itself is enough for our Prime Minister to act on our
Okay.
behalf.
Okay, I hear your pain, I feel your pain, and I hope if the Prime Minister visits Manipur, he meets people of your community and also of the Meitei communities. He's the Prime Minister
Yes.
of everybody. He's our Prime Minister. He must, I'm sure the people, everybody I met wanted to hear from the Prime Minister. But I want to briefly ask you before I go to Yashwant, very briefly, Gladdy, because I'll come back to you. Your leaders did meet with the Home Minister. Is there some progress being made in those talks? I ask you this because it seems to me that the government has left the handling of Manipur to the Home Minister.
How does it mean to call us infiltrator? Amit Shah has used that term, Barkha. We are not infiltrator. How a person that we respect so much, a person who visited us in Manipur, Amit Shah who has seen our pain, how is he using this word infiltrator? Are we
Okay.
not the citizen of India? It's not going to solve by calling us with this name. It hurt us
Okay.
even deeper, Barkha, as a citizen of India.
I feel your pain and I want to take some of the things you've said back to the panel. And Yashwant, I'll ask you this. I think it was Dr. Manisha Priyam who made this point that when we talk about Manipur, we as students of politics are going to have to separate the politics from the pain. There is a lot of pain in Manipur, and that stands on one side, and they are waiting. They would love the Prime Minister to visit. They would want to meet the Prime Minister. They look to him. I think one soldier told me, even as a father figure, if he comes and scolds me, I'm ready for that. A Manipuri soldier told me, let him scold us. Let him tell us he's behaving badly, but we want to hear from him. That's one part of the story. The other part of the story is what Neerja and you are talking about, the political handling, the opposition versus government. I think even if we say the opposition missed their chance in parliament today, the government, the prime minister is still going to have to address the people of Manipur. That hasn't gone away.
Well, of course, yes, he has to, and somehow something tells me that he will. I mean, I don't think he is the kind of person who likes to carry failures as his legacy in any form. So, understanding him as a person or as a politician, whichever way, and I think Neerja ji would also agree with me on that one. That is still a lot of things to be done, and probably they are going to be done. What I also feel, Barkha, then in one of the previous programs, I think we discussed that two things should have happened ideally. Number one, there should have been a complete session dedicated to Manipur. I mean, that would have probably, if the opposition would have accepted a debate on Manipur, it would have
Yes.
happened. Number one. Number two, we also discussed this one point in earlier programs, that women being used as a shield in conflict.
Yes.
Crime against women deserves a single dedicated session in the parliament. Forget about Northeast, forget about Rajasthan. When we are looking at the viral videos, when are looking at the situation, the crime against women, the way women are used, that
Yes.
needs a standalone session, not just Northeast. So these two things should have happened, didn't happen. Whom to blame? Not to blame. Yes, I totally understand. The pain of our Manipuri brothers and sisters, particularly the sisters.
Yes.
Yes, I would have loved to see the Prime Minister over there, and something tells me that it will happen probably after some concrete. The way I look at his political journey, I have always seen him following up that thing only when some concrete steps his administration has taken.
I,
I
I, I
think
tend
he's
to I tend to agree with you. My sense is the Home Minister will reach a formula, and
Exactly.
then you will probably see the Prime Minister carry it to Manipur. Mr. Nambiar, however, there remain questions that must be asked. I was talking about the situation the army has been put in, letter writing, asking for Assam rifles to be taken out of Manipur. China is next door. There's a border with Myanmar. These are dangerous things, right? And I think public communication, we've spoken today about the opposition's fault, but let's also acknowledge that the government's own communication on Manipur could have been a lot better. Mr. Nambiar.
I agree with you. I agree with you that I think the people, either the nation wanted to know, not only from just since maybe not yesterday or even the last 3 months, we all wanted to know what's happening in Manipur exactly. What is
Yeah.
that the government is doing, and what is the plan ahead to restore the normalcy forever. So this was all we all wanted to. But then the people who are handling a situation at the ground, they know it better when to communicate, what is the situation, how can they can contain the challenges and make it normalcy. So I will never agree, because many times the opposition people do start saying that the government is not doing anything. Government is at work, and there are times people ask that why the chief minister is not out. Maybe that may not have been in the interest of the Manipur, because you wanted to have regional political leaders who are being voted quite recently. They should be there under to the command. Maybe if you wanted to change the chief minister after 3 months, 6 months, once the things comes back to normalcy, that may be the
Yeah.
right decision. Or kicking out the
I,
government, just going out, that may not be the right one. The last
I
thing is
have,
that why,
yeah, sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, please.
Go ahead.
No, no.
Continue.
Another thing which what we were talking about is, I think the Congress spokesperson had gone. Today, what we had seen in the parliament was not just about a Manipur issue. It was a no confidence motion. A no confidence motion against the government by the opposition. Now, it is very important for the Prime Minister to speak about all his legacies of 9 years and what he did for the country. What is the kind of vision he has got for the country in the next another 5 years or 10 years or whatever it may be.
Right.
So if you don't speak that, that may not
I,
be something, and especially.
I was just going to disagree with you on one point on the chief minister, and I'll get Yashwant to tell you what his tracker was showing on the Biren Singh government. But let's take last comments now. I don't know where Swaty went. I hope she's able to reconnect. But Neerja, you spoke about the opposition's mistake. Neerja, you spoke about the opposition losing a big opportunity. Is the government also underestimating that while a lot of people don't understand the unique history of Manipur, don't know much about the Northeast, there's something about the suffering of women and children that has shaken India. And I think the government would do well to pay heed to the fact that this is a national story right now. This is not a local story. Neerja?
Yes, absolutely, I agree. And what has happened to the women in Manipur is something we will take a long time to live down. And I think women are also constituency. Again, I feel the opposition could have made much of that. It's a constituency all over the country, but
Yeah.
it's a constituency to worry about.
Yeah.
And also the entire Northeast region, which for decades was infested with insurgencies. It's only recent times that there is relative peace in the area, and the BJP has been making, winning over states and forming governments. So for it to allow this sentiment to grow in the Northeast, that the rest of India really doesn't care about us, that the Prime Minister will not speak about it, I don't think it's done much for the BJP. I don't know why they've gone in for a policy like that. Maybe the Prime Minister felt, he doesn't want to speak under the pressure of the opposition party, whatever. But what I would have hoped for, and what might have happened in the past, if only this debate today could have led to an all-party delegation visiting.
I agree.
To diffuse the tensions, to reach out to people. Now that hasn't happened. But could there be an all-women delegation from different parties, different fields of life, going to Manipur and just reaching out to them? But I think something more solid could have come out of the debate.
Absolutely.
But really, why it hasn't shows us the an enormous amount of bitterness that's coming now between the ruling side and
That
the
is such an important point you made, because in 2010, and I've used this example before, when we had a crisis in Kashmir, you had Arun Jaitley and Sushma Swaraj among the BJP leaders then in opposition, joining all the others and going to Kashmir. I remember reporting that story. Before I give Yashwant the last word, I must come to Glady. Glady, if the Prime Minister, if you were to be before the Prime Minister, let's not get into separate administration or not. Those are things the Home Minister will decide. I want you to speak as a woman, as a human being. Let's say you get 2 minutes with Prime Minister Modi. What would you say to him, Glady?
If I get 2 minutes with the Prime Minister, I will show one of the victims in that video of the woman paraded naked. She is a prime witness. I want to bring her to speak to the Prime Minister of India and show him, don't play politics. It's not politics. It's about my relative who lost her brother, her nephew, and she was spared of stripping because she had her grandchild of 3 years old on her shoulder. The 2 girls who paraded was her relative. I want to take her to the Prime Minister of India. That is what I will do if I have a chance to meet him.
I'm so sorry for what all of you have gone through, and I just hope you stay safe. What's her name? What is your relative's name?
Lamingena. Ha. Born again. Apuma.
Ting Doi Hat.
Ting Doi Hat, wife of Mr. Joseph in the FIR, the number 3. She has gone through a lot, and we are still debating in Parliament, talking about politics, blaming everyone, opposition, and the Prime Minister wait to speak till her niece's video were out.
Yes,
now what else can we do? 100 days
hope-
past, Barkha. She has came to Delhi with just one T-shirt and a Manipuri lungi, a tribal cookies or cloth. That's all she had. And today, she didn't have anything. Her husband needs medical attention. There is no home for her. I don't know if this is not important. What else is important in our country? If the Prime Minister is with us, he should be with her. She is a
Yes.
representative of India.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's very moving to hear your raw pain and what all of you have gone through. And grief is there in your community, in the Methi community. Woman after woman I met in Manipur has broken down. And I think, Yashwant, the people of Manipur are looking to the Prime Minister, and this debate is not the last word on the matter, and it can't be. Before we end, and after that very disturbing account from Glady, I want you to just a little bit, because numbers tell a story, and your tracker did track the perception about the Biren Singh government in Manipur. So I want to leave you with the last word. Yashwant. Can we unmute Yashwant, please? Yashwant, please unmute yourself.
3 quick things. First of all,
Yes.
Gladys, as an Indian, I am sorry for, I don't have words. I'm as individual, as an Indian, I'm sorry for what we had to hear. Second thing, month before Prime Minister says that Desh Aapke Saath hai, I think the numbers we had put across, big number, overwhelming numbers of Indians outside Manipur actually demanded a president rule, and if not president rule, at least the chief minister to be fired. I think the numbers had said that. So
Yes.
please understand that it's not that India doesn't feel, India doesn't care. Indians don't say, they say upfront, up loud,
Yeah.
Yes, I understand much more is desired to be done, and politics is part of it. And even after saying so, I believe that this entire session has brought what is to be brought in the center stage. I wish there would have been a separate session completely on Manipur and a session on women's issues. I hope it will happen sometime soon, and I am also hoping that, as Barkha, you just mentioned, that once the Home Minister fine tunes the details, then Prime Minister will carry them forward.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I want to say, Barkha, was a completely different thing from Manipur. It was purely on the proceedings of the parliament. You remember in '96, after the 13 days of the Vajpayee government, the confidence motion was the first time aired on Doordarshan. I think Sushma
Yes.
Swaraj was INP minister. Since then, we have heard so many of confidence and no confidence motions. But imagine at that point of time, Vajpayee ji used to speak in the last as a prime minister. But before that, even from the government side, Advani ji, Murli Manohar Joshi, Sushma Swaraj, Arun Jaitley, Pramod Mahajan, these set of leaders used to speak either in opposition or as a part of the government. I mean, the kind of level of debate that we were used to witness. Yes, Prime Minister is up there in speaking, no doubt about that. But what I mourn today, number one, is that even from the BJP's rank and file, I don't see actually that leaders who are, coming in to fill in that vacuum of the
Yeah.
quality speaking in the parliament. And more than the BJP, I actually mourn it for opposition in that way. How I wish these kind of leaders would have been on their benches to speak today. So overall speaking, I think the
Yeah.
entire this debate level of the no confidence motion, Neerja ji probably would agree with me, is nowhere near what we used to watch it a decade back. That is
Yeah.
a one big loss. Yes, the politics will go on. Yes, the elections will come and go. I just hope that people, our sisters from Manipur understand that actually, yes, India is with them, no matter any politician says it or not. And I actually hope and trust that yes, Prime Minister will do what is expected from him to be done.
We leave it there. Once again, to the people of Manipur, to Gladys here, to her relative, to all the people, in particular the women and children of Manipur, we are sorry. We in the media are also sorry. Yashwant told the story, and it bears repeating, that of all the polling surveys he does, and he's been doing them for decades, not once had anybody commissioned themselves a poll on Manipur. He would do it on his own. So we in the media are also complicit. Gladys, you speak about how the media didn't wake up to the story, till after the viral video. That's when the national media started reporting it. So there are many complicities of silence here, and I think we must own up to them. And I very much take Neerja Chowdhury's point, and I think we can all agree on a note of consensus that Manipur needs political consensus right now. Manipur needs an all-party delegation right now. And now that the sound and noise and fury of this no confidence motion is behind us, I still very much hope that our political class can find it, within themselves, someone make the gesture, reach out and carry a message of peace unitedly to the people of Manipur. Thank you very much to Neerja Chowdhury, Yashwant Deshmukh, Piketi Nambiar, earlier to Swaty Malik of the Congress, and in particular, a big thanks to Gladys Wi-Fi from Manipur for talking to us. All the speeches made in Parliament today are available in full, of course, the Prime Minister's as well, on the Mojo Story platform. Do have a look. Thank you for watching. Take care.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.